Aloha offline sharks. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis. I've got my traveling business partner, Nick Ponte. What's up, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah, I know you're not in Austin yet, are you?
No.
Okay. On your way, though. On your way.
I'm on my way.
Yep. No. I'm going to put in the group, you know how they do the Santa tracker? I'm going to do the Nick Ponte tracker. Like little dots showing you going all over.
Yeah, I saw this this Twitter account the other day that follows Elon Musk's jet, like when it lands and goes to different places. And some guy set that up on Twitter, right? So everybody follows it. And he tried to offer him $5,000 to shut it down, and the guy said no. And then Elon blocked him.
He's like tracking his jet. That's crazy. That's crazy.
The guy travels a lot, man. If I went and looked at it, it's actually pretty interesting. Like his jet just is bouncing around everywhere all the time.
To see where he goes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, welcome to another Friday Marketing Jam Session. We got a great show lined up for you. Today, we're going to be talking about how to skip the sales call, how to bypass the usual sales routines. We've got a special guest. We're going to talk a lot about local marketing, a subject some people think is a little scary, SEO, but we're going to shed some light on how to easily do it and profit from it. You guys are going to love it. A lot of great things lined up. So I'm going to cue the intro, and then we'll see you back here in just a few momentos.
Ready for the fastest 60 minutes of strategies and tactics to build your remote business from anywhere in the world? It's now time. The moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Now, back for a brand new Sharks Live show. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All the applause. You know, I should have put that applause in the thing when I recorded myself doing that magic trick. I didn't even think about it.
You mean you should have asked everybody to applause?
No, I should have added the applause sound effect at the end.
Yeah, no, you didn't catch that. I meant you should have asked the crowd to give you an applause.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. I should have. I did miss that. Awesome. Here, I got to pull something up here. So what's been going on in your world, Nick?
Man, all kinds of stuff, you know, kicking ass, taking names. I mean, just the usual stuff. You know, we got a lot of clients coming in. We just sold a pretty expensive citation cleanup, which has to do with SEO. You know, like that is anybody familiar with what a citation cleanup is? Anybody ever?
Are you familiar with what a citation is? Let us know that, because we can start at the very beginning. Some of you may not even know what a citation is.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk more about them on this call, because they have a place in the SEO world for sure. But yeah, anyway, so we sold one of those, and it can be kind of a pain, you know, because over time businesses get citations just by virtue of being on the internet, right? Like a data aggregator or a database will pick up your business information and give you a citation for your business information. A lot of times it's not accurate. Kristen says they're nasty work. They are. Yeah. And they can be, especially if a business has been around for some time. So yeah, we sold a pretty expensive citation cleanup for about $3,000 yesterday.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty good deal though. Yeah. And citations are about cleaning up what they call in the local SEO jargon, your NAP, which is name, address, and phone number.
Get your NAP right. Who said that?
Your NAP right. That's right. I don't know who that is that said that, but you have to log in. Michael Howard said the same thing.
Yep.
At your NAP.
Yeah, and you know, it's the first, I think, most important thing. I mean, we'll ask our special guest when he gets on, but I mean, if you don't have that right with respects to local SEO, you're basically screwed.
Yeah. And when we say local SEO, like the way we differentiate what we consider local SEO and just, I guess maybe what you'd call organic SEO, is that local SEO specifically focuses on getting people ranked in the maps, right? In that little block that changes based on where the person is searching from, that shows the really true, local businesses. So when we talk about local SEO, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point. So April says, I just woke up from one of those, a nap.
That's great, April. That's great. That's great. Well, I know we've got a lot of great content to cover. We got a guest we're going to bring out, but we do have a couple things we want to do right in the beginning. So right now, we want to give some big shark shout outs to the people in our community that have closed deals this past week. And we do like to, give them a good pat on the back and a big hurrah from all the sharks. So here's what we'd like you to do. If you're on the stream right now, you go to offlinesharks.com/shoutouts. You will see the sharks there that we're shouting out today. Just pop something in the comments like, hey, great job. Way to go. Awesome work. Blow up that little feed there. And then at the end of the show, we'll give away some of Nick's money. So just go there and pop in good job to them. So offlinesharks.com/shoutouts. And let's pull these shoutouts up because there's a few good ones today. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
Let's do it. Hey, Miss Darla and Norm.
Yeah, awesome. All right. So our first shark shout out today goes to Martin Lane. So Martin flipped a 300-pound website. You got to be strong to be able to flip a 300-pound website, Nick.
Yeah, you do.
Got to be strong. Got to get those be doing work on those guns. Anyway, he flipped a 300-pound website URL for 2,000 pounds and got the job of building the new website for 1,500 pounds plus a monthly marketing package to be agreed upon.
Wow.
So let me get this straight. So he owned the domain that he paid $300 for. He then sold this company the domain he paid $300 for $2,000. So he made $1,700 just there. Then they hired him to build the website for $1,500, and they're adding on a monthly marketing package. That deserves some applause. That is multi-channel monetization. I love it.
That's called being resourceful.
Yeah, and that is just under $5,000 in US dollars.
Nicely done, Martin.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Way to go, Martin. Way to go. Okay. All right. So our next shout out goes to Bruce Mayo. Bruce fired I saw this post. This was great. So Bruce fired a client, right? Fired a client. They were paying him $1,200 a month, but they were micromanaging his work, and they were just being a huge time suck. And I know, Nick, you shared in the Facebook about doing this yourself, letting clients go, right? That aren't cool people to work with. And Bruce did the same thing, but then he signed a local rugby team for a website and YouTube channel, building out the website and the sales since he only charged a third of his regular price. And first, some applause for Bruce. But I like to bring this one up because sometimes it can be scary when you think about letting a client go. But I mean, our experience has been, you almost always fill that space with somebody better.
Yeah. I mean, those, I maybe like get rid of clients like that too quickly. Sometimes I'm always like, it just, because I have like PTSD of like super bad clients. You know what I mean? Like you can get one really bad client into your world, and it'll just screw everything up and give you massive brain damage. So it's usually better to get those clients out before that can happen, if you just see those red flags coming up. And so, yeah, like you said, Tom, it really it allows you to have space for the good clients, and I know a lot of people, when they're starting out, we take on lots of deals, any deal we can get usually. And that's important. That's like a time where you are learning what you like and what you don't like about working with people. And so as you develop your skills, you get better, you're able to be more selective because your skill level allows you to be more selective. You can get, provide a greater service, greater value to your customers. So yeah, I know a lot of people might not be there yet, but eventually you will be able to cherry pick your clients.
Yeah. And and we're not just talking about firing people willy-nilly. You have limited amount of time, and you only want to work with people that are good to work with, right? That appreciate what you're doing. So awesome. Our third shout out this week goes to Randy Bett. So Randy had 3. It has been awesome to see Randy in the Facebook group again and freaking kicking butt like he was doing before. He had 3 sales this week, right? $1,600 for setting up and optimizing a real estate website for lead generation. $1,500 for a small equipment manufacturer website, and then $2,500 for a high-end car audio website. So some applause there for Randy. But the thing that I think is great about Randy's wins this week are just the niches, right? Like I would almost say like small equipment companies almost fall to me like they're very similar to when you work with people in the home services niche, right? Like they have very high profit margins. They're not super, a lot of them are not super online tech savvy, but they know they need help there, right? So it can be a good niche to go after. And the car audio too, like that's another one that's a high profit thing, right?
Yeah. And I want to give like an extra shout out to Randy because I've, he's been super helpful lately. He's been posting videos, videos on like helpful things. For example, I saw a video this morning about his, just kind of breaking down some of his API usage with his AGM site. And I know a lot of people had questions about that. So this community always continues to impress me. And I'm, whenever I see that kind of stuff, I'm really grateful for everybody that always helps out. I mean, we have a member of the week every single week, and it's usually somebody that's like helping out in the community. And people ask us all the time, right, Tom? Like whenever we go to these in-person events, they're like, how do you guys have such good engagement in your group? How do you have how did you guys do that? And I don't know. I don't know exactly how we had it happen. Maybe it's just by when we started this group, we responded to every single comment. Maybe that is the reason why ourselves, and people just kind of started doing that as well. But that kind of stuff is pretty incredible. I've been seeing a lot of people really asking questions and helping each other out, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot behind what you were saying there. I mean, one is, right, like, especially you in the beginning, you were very vested in the Facebook group, right? Very vested, spent a lot of time in there. And, and we have the team in there, that's part of it. But two, like, I think the reason that group is so awesome and people want to help us because they see people doing it, right? They see people like Randy jumping in there, sharing, helping. And then when you have some success or you have something you can share, you want to get in and give back, right? Like it's the community is awesome. I mean, I think we had a little part to play in that, but really I think it's the people we have in there and the real genuine desire of people in our group to, like, they want everybody to be successful, right?
Oh, you.
Yeah. They want like there's so much business. Like no one in that group really thinks like, oh, I'm going to keep what I'm doing to myself because somebody will steal my idea. Like there's so much work. And I feel like the people in our group understand that. Like they really have a good grasp that there's more business than everyone in that group could ever possibly handle. Like even if we all had there's more work out there than even our little tiny group can handle. So, awesome. Yeah. Awesome job. Yeah. A shout out to the group. A shout out and a round of applause to the group. So, cool. And by the way, that's a combined total last week of just over $10,000, $10,345 from the stuff that people shared. And that brings our grand total, because now we're a few days into February, to $61,398 generated by our sharks since the start of 2022. You know what I love about that number? We were just talking about this the other day, Nick. Remember, what did I tell you? How much did I make as a restaurant manager? $29,000. I think my first restaurant manager job was, I don't even know if it was $29,000. I think it might have been, I think it might have been $28,000, $29,000 for an entire year. And by the way, that was working 55 to 60 hours a week. Like, it's just crazy to me. Crazy. So awesome job, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the value that we all provide here for people is really what it's all about. The businesses that we all work with, the services that we provide, there's a huge value in that. We can do a lot. We're helping people get more customers and grow their business. So, you get compensated. I mean, these skills that we all have are very, very valuable, and they should be highly compensated.
Yeah, look at that. Norm made $3.25 per hour when he started cooking.
Damn.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. That's our shout out. Let's go ahead and do our member of the week. I think that's a good idea. So here, every week we like to reward a member. You just had a funny look on your face there when I turned that graphic off. That was great.
I heard
Cameron,
the
we need to
applause going.
screenshot that and use it in a graphic somewhere. That was awesome. Anyway, we like to celebrate every week a member of the week, somebody who's in our community being a great steward. And last week we had a couple of good options. And it was a tough call. But our member of the week this week, who, by the way, they win. All right, I shouldn't say win, but they get this awesome box. Listen to that. Full of currently undisclosed shark swag sent to their house. So they get that sent to them directly. And this week's member of the week who's going to get that sent right to them is Mr. Martin Lane. Some applause. Way to go, Martin. Martin, here, we can play this song.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Martin, congratulations, man, on being member of the week. Somebody from our team is going to reach out and get your info so we can get that shark swag treasure chest sent to you. Awesome job. So he got member of the week this week for his win selling the website. You're also got the job to build the website for the buyer. So congratulations, Martin. Way to go, man.
Yeah, congrats. That picture, it looked like he was like on his private jet somewhere sipping a glass of like Cristal or something.
Yeah. He may have been, for all we know. He may have been.
Sir Martin Lane. We'll just call him.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Nick, you want to, I know I was on the training this past, what did we do that? Wednesday with our special guest. But I know you've been chit-chatting with him and talking to him and doing some of them for a long time. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about who we're going to bring out, and let's do a really good intro so he really feels the pressure.
Yeah, lots of pressure. You know me.
I want the pressure, like oh my God, I better do a good job.
I'm an incredible intro person, right? I'm like the ultimate hype man. So good at giving these incredible introductions. Well, how about this? Who do you think? I'm asking everybody on the line with us. Maybe the first person that gets the special guest correctly, we'll give some Cash App money too. We'll do a little quick giveaway there.
Who the guest is?
Yeah. Obviously, our guest speaker is a SEO expert, definitely an expert. You know, I would consider anybody that spends as much time as this gentleman here in the trenches an expert. And I've actually seen his stuff for quite some time, like long before I ever met him. You know, I noticed him, you know, because if you're an SEO person, you're constantly looking at different things. You know, you're looking at what information is out there on different strategies. There's a lot of moving parts, and it can be difficult. You know, you can make SEO a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And I think that's an issue that a lot. Yeah, Frank, you got it, man. Tony Robbins is coming. That's who it is. I see a lot of different people though. Did you?
I see the person who got it, but it just says Facebook user. They're not logged in, so I don't know who this is. That's right below Bruce Amayo. Maybe somebody can tell me.
Yeah,
like I say that Bruce Amayo.
yeah.
Sorry, Bruce. They're right below Bruce, but they got it right. This is our guest. We'll bring him out, Mr. Chase Rayner.
What's up?
What's up, Chase? How's it going?
So that's what you YouTubers do, sit in front of the green screen?
Sometimes, yeah. Actually, lately I haven't been doing a lot of it, but it's kind of cool. These actually pull up out of the ground. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
these.
really? Oh, no,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had one of those right now. Look at my hotel room. It's embarrassing. Don't look, everybody. Don't look.
Do you remember when we were doing the live show and you were in your brother's basement?
Yeah.
And you had that, whatever that paper was.
So this is a funny story. We were doing the live stream, Chase, and my brother was, he's, a lot of you know my brother, right? He helped us with our website security blueprint. He's a cyber warfare operator in the Air Force. And he was doing some like training for his squadron, I guess you could call it, his crew. And he has his office in his basement in Denver. He's got a growing family, so he's the father usually gets moved in the basement for office space, I guess, when that happens. And so he had his own green screen that he set up, which was super, super ghetto. Like ghetto it was like basically a green sheet.
It
And
looked like
was hanging
construction
out.
paper.
Yeah.
It was pretty
And
bad.
so yeah, I did the stream down there. It was really dark, it was really cold, and it looked nothing like the one that you have now. And my shirt was not nearly as cool.
Nick looked like he was being held hostage. I was like, blink twice if you can't escape.
I'm there with you though, Nick. I started with the tapestry taped to a garage door, so that's where my YouTube videos started.
You know what? That's a really good place to start, I think, because, for those of you that don't know Chase, I mean, some of you might just see him on YouTube and stuff, but I don't know he's just a regular guy, he's got super uber success with his SEO strategies and everything that he does. But maybe you could share with people a little bit about how you kind of got started and got into the world of doing what you do, SEO.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say this group is awesome. You guys are hilarious. And I love how much engagement you have in here. And it's kind of an example of what I want to do with my group. But anyways, yeah, so I started out, normal dude. I was going to college. I was trying to take computer science classes and I just didn't understand it. I was never really that good at computers. I thought I was, but I really just played a lot of video games. And so I assumed I was good. But, when I started learning code, had no idea what I was doing. And then eventually I dropped out of college and, I also dropped out of high school. I had a lot of problems when I was younger as well. One of my parents died and, I had a lot of struggles but I just knew I didn't want to do the school route. I wanted to try something, different. I didn't want to have to just like do the same thing I saw my friends doing. And I just wasn't into it. And I also just didn't feel like I was very smart. And so I saved a little bit of money. I moved into a garage and I started doing YouTube videos, trying to show people, what this SEO thing was. I just learned about it, right? Somebody handed me a book and they're like, hey, learn this. And I'm like, what? And I found out about it and I thought it was incredible. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. But, there I was in my garage. I was eating, top ramen. And I had, like I said, the tapestry taped to the garage door so people couldn't tell I was living in a garage. And I was trying to tell them how they could rank their businesses online. And, looking back at it, it's kind of embarrassing, but it was one of my best memories starting out because it was kind of where everything, really started. And, there's something magical about thinking about, where you could go with something like that. And, I just kept putting my foot in front of the other and eventually it started working out. I learned a lot by just trial and error. And, I didn't really have a group like you guys have a group. I didn't have people helping me. I didn't have all these people around me that had success. And that's why I think your group's so incredible is because, you see all these people that are having massive success. And that's so, for me, I wish I could have seen stuff like that because I had no idea if it was going to work. I was just like, I hope it works. And so I do really admire that about what you guys have here.
I mean, us too, that it's Tom and I have a very, very similar story, like we didn't have any of that stuff. It's kind of where the group, and that's why we're here. Like that's where it all started, is because we were all looking for that and we just didn't really have that out there. So yeah. So what was the first website that you actually got higher in Google's search results? Was it your own website or was it did you get a client first?
First website. So when I started, I had a computer repair website because I thought I could make money fixing people's computers. I actually, this was right before I found out about what SEO was. And so I would go over to people's houses and I would fix their computer. I'd advertise on Craigslist actually, and they'd hand me a $20 bill and I was, ecstatic, right? Because when I was working at Radio Shack and, I was getting paid $10 an hour. And, it just wasn't really, I was getting paid double to go to a house and hook somebody's, computer up that took me like 10 minutes. Right. So my first website, I just put together a basic website. I don't even think it was WordPress back then. I think we used something called Dreamweaver. And
oh yeah.
Dreamweaver. I forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, the way I found out about SEO is I wanted to start getting clients, and then Craigslist wasn't really working for me. I wasn't getting a lot of calls, and I started looking and seeing, all these people were showing up on Google, and I started asking people like, what do I do? And that's when somebody actually handed me a book on it. But I realized I wanted to rank #1 for computer repair. And what I did is I reached out to somebody that I found out was ranking #1. He was an old family friend of mine, and I called him up. I said, hey man, his name was Ricardo. I said, Ricardo, I see you're ranking #1 on Google. How can I do something like that? And he told me, he said, you know what? And I remember this because it just hit me like a ton of bricks, right? He said, you'll never be able to outrank me. And he hung up the phone. And I was
did that just make you pissed? Did that start the fire?
Well, first of all, I was just so shocked because I was coming from like a place of like, I'm not trying to beat you. I just wanted to learn how he was doing it. But I mean, I can see from his standpoint, like how he doesn't, want more competition. Why would he teach us competition? But I mean, I was just learning about it. I just wanted to figure out how to get a few clients. But yeah, I mean, I just remember feeling like so mad because I was like, how is he going to tell me? And to be honest with you, most of the things I've done in my life are because people told me I couldn't do them. I got told for a long time that I had to go to school. So what did I do? I said, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to. Right. And so either way, I started trying to rank for that keyword. And eventually I got really high up. I was on the first page. But in that process, what happened is I realized that I fell in love with SEO so much that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want computer repair clients. And so part of me had to kind of give that dream up to beat that guy. I had to get rid of that revenge, right? Because as much as I wanted to get revenge, it wasn't worth it. I would rather, go help people with their businesses and do what I really like doing. And so I wound up getting rid of that website. And then I wound up actually outranking everybody in my town for SEO. And but yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Nice. It's interesting how that happens. You start down one path and then you uncover something else and you can go a totally different direction. One thing I'm always curious about is whenever we bring this topic up in SEO, I always like to ask everybody, like, who is already doing SEO? Maybe you could put a 1 in the chat if you are doing SEO and a 2 if you still are not doing SEO. I always like to ask this question whenever we talk about SEO because it's one of those, I mean, in my opinion, I'm a little biased. It is a fundamental skill, and you may not need to be an expert, right? But you should definitely know just enough to be dangerous, and it's actually not that difficult as long as or know that the information that you are getting is real, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so I see a lot of ones. I actually don't really see anybody that's not doing SEO. So I mean, and our community in general is people are pretty familiar with SEO, which is good, right? They know that I really like SEO. Tom really likes SEO. In fact, Tom, what's the first website you started doing SEO on? You actually, in the beginning, I think you were a little more SEO heavy than I was.
Yeah, it was just for clients though. I wasn't doing it for my own stuff. Like I was like the guy, the shoe guy that his kids have really terrible shoes. Like my website, like I didn't have a website for a long time. It really sucked. And like I was doing SEO for clients, so I wasn't doing it for myself. I remember even when Nick came to me and he was like, I'm going to SEO my own site, so it ranks up. And I was like, why? I was like, dude, why are you going to waste your time with all that stuff? Like, I was just like not a strategy I would have done. But now who's laughing now? Right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right. Who's laughing?
Like now he's like up there, gets clients from it. It brings inbound leads. So yeah, I was wrong on that one.
By the way, if everybody here could just Google Hawaii SEO real quick and tell me where my website pops up, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I think here's some of the, when I look back at the differences of these things and the client websites that I, ranked and things in the beginning, like I really did struggle with confidence and things like that in SEO. Right. And I really didn't have a lot of success with it because, especially in the beginning, because I didn't have that confidence, right? Like, I think Nick's approach of like taking yourself on as the first client is great because it's like, you get that confidence, you build it up, you can do it, all those things. And then Chase, when I think you combine that with your strategy and approach of, kind of bypassing the selling, like getting right into providing value and helping them, right? When you combine it with that approach, it just makes everything so much easier, right? Because like on Wednesday's training, one of the things that I really took away from that call that I thought was really smart about what you're doing was, one, you're not wasting your time just trying to sell everybody, right? Like you're reaching out to these people and saying, hey, I found some problems on your website. Do you want help with it? And if they don't respond, you just like leave them to whatever it is they're going to do in life. But if they text back and they're like, oh, what problems? Or yeah, then like So you're talking to the people that are interested. I thought that was a really, really great approach, because now, at least they want help, right? And then with your tool, you're able to give them a report, what you call the mini roadmaps, which I think is great branding for that, because people don't understand SEO audit, right? But like when you tell them like, oh, hey, well, look, I put together this little mini roadmap that kind of shows, what's wrong with your site and that type of stuff. Like you're just already into it, right? And you're really kind of just like baiting them into saying like, well, how do I fix this? And really that's what you want, right? You want to hit them with that stuff and then go, well, what would I do to fix it? Right. And I think that's just such a great approach. Look,
yeah, Tom,
I stunned them into silence. That's right.
No. That's not what happened. I was actually going to say, so I'm curious how Chase kind of uncovered this for himself. I have a general idea because Tom and I had some of this experience too. Like whenever we got a new SEO client coming on, it's actually the first strategy that we ever went online and taught anybody, or at least me. Tom had another strategy before that, but the first one that we ever did together that was really the springboard for Offline Sharks was teaching people how to find these little weaknesses in their search presence, because what we were doing is like, we knew we wanted to get recurring clients, right? Like that was the huge sell, the huge like trophy for us. And because we were building websites and we needed to get more clients every time we wanted to get paid. And then we figured out what SEO was, and we're like, oh, if you just give them anybody that you build the website for, if you then just sell them this thing, then they can pay you each month. That makes a lot of sense, so that we can have a base of income for our business. And so, we found, like, we started trying to find people that needed SEO and all of that. And we had to do this manual approach in identifying like what issues they had, kind of similar to what your software automates, right? Like we never had a tool that like automated that. We weren't that smart, but we had a manual approach of doing this. And that's actually what we, taught and teach people how to do. I mean, it still works, it still works really well. It depends on what you're looking for. But I'm curious how you kind of uncovered, and I know, we had a training the other day, Chase, so you don't have to, explain everything. People can go watch the replay later, but I think more of the story, I think it's cool to shed light as to like how you kind of uncovered this and what it looks like, what people can expect from those types of clients.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was in that garage, I didn't really have a whole lot of people contacting me. And so I wound up doing it the hard way, right? I was doing all these YouTube videos, and eventually after like months and months, people would start reaching out to me and say, hey, can you help me? But I mean, with the strategy that we have, like we're sending out thousands of messages every day, and like people don't even know who we are and they're responding to us. So first of all, I wish I would have had that when I started, but either way, I still got people to eventually reach out to me. And I realized that I needed to figure out something to sell them, right? Because I was like, oh, well, I can tell them that they need to rank on Google, but what do they do first? And so I started doing these little notepad audits. Like I would go on YouTube. You can actually look at my older videos from like 5 years ago. Again, you can see the garage door in the background with the tapestry trying to cover it. You can still see the door. And I'd go on there for hours, and I would write out number one, fix heading tag or fix title. And I would spend like an hour and a half. I'd get this whole thing, and then I would give it to the person and I'd say, would you like to buy this? And some people might have not even been interested, right? So there was a lot of people that weren't. I would do these whole audits, and like they would just be, oh, well, thanks for the audit. And they run off with it, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm spending so much time doing this. And, it took forever. And that's kind of why I decided to create the tool, was because I wanted to give people the ability to just click a button and it does all of it. Right. And so I basically took the most important things that we look at in an audit. Is it a fast loading website? Is there a security certificate on the website? Are there like the basic meta tags, like heading tags and all the little things that you want? And so now all you do is you just put in a website URL, you press the button, and it scans the whole website in a couple of seconds, gives you the audit that I spent, hours doing. So again, I try to build things that kind of almost would help my old self when I first started out. And I know a lot of people are benefiting from being able to just run these audits whenever they want.
Oh, 100. I mean, absolutely. 100,000% they are. I remember when we were first reviewing, what you showed us, with what you were doing, Tom was like, man, we should have we should have built this. Like, I wish we would have came up with that idea.
It's like,
Like, man, that was something we screwed up on. We totally should have built something, like, because of the use case, right? Because of how valuable it is, because of how it just gives you a unique opportunity to talk to people and get your foot in the door. But then you don't have to do all of the legwork, all the heavy lifting. I mean, it's one of those use cases for a software coming in and replacing the how they say that we're going to be replaced by robots in whatever the next 10 years or whatever. Like, I mean, that's a great example. Like, nobody should be manually auditing if you have a tool like that.
Yeah, well, the manual audits were so complicated. Like, we were charging people to do them. Like, we wouldn't even do them for free, right? Like, we had to be like, look, the first step is to do this audit, and the audit is $250, right? Because it's like, it took time. But your tool eliminates all that stuff. I mean, I think it's awesome.
That's a good point. So do you ever sell the audits, Chase, or do you just kind of use them as a foot in the door?
So I used to sell the audits kind of like Tom, because they took so much time. And so I had to charge for them. I'd charge about $297. And what I do now is we kind of like try to do these mini audits the goal is to get somebody to agree with you. And so if like I contact somebody and I say, hey, there's an issue with your website, would you like to know what it is? And they say yes, which a lot of people do. They want to know what's wrong with their website. And I say, well, there's this issue here. Like, first of all, maybe it's loading slow, or maybe there's a broken security certificate, or anything really. Maybe they're missing a button. If I can get them to agree with me that that's a problem, then I can say, well, I can fix it. And so that's kind of getting your foot in the door. And then what we do is we'll do like something like a full audit, right? Well, where we can actually still do the full, scan on the website. It only takes a click of a button, still charge $297, but we'll usually bundle that in with some sort of fix, like, well, we'll fix the button for you and do the full audit, right? So you got kind of the mini audit, which just shows like, a few little things. And again, you're just trying to get them to agree with you so you can get your foot in the door. And then you got the full audit that you're going to give them. And that's when you're going to kind of upsell into the, $1,000 or $2,000 per month services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw somebody asking about Chase's tool. So here I think I don't want to do it yet because I don't want you guys to get distracted while we're talking to him. But I'm going to put a link here in just a second that will take you to the training that we did with Chase, where he demos the tool and goes through the whole strategy and all that stuff. So just hang tight. I'll put that link up here in a minute. And then as soon as the live is over, you guys can go check it out. And just so you know, it was a great webinar. And too, like, I think you were already through with everything in under an hour. So it's like, it's not a ton of time, right? You can just go there and get the gist of it. But there's a lot of other great stuff you want to see in there that we haven't talked about. Like, his reach out strategy. I mean, we kind of talked about that, but he talks about the reach out strategy, how he does that, some of that stuff, really clever things. So yeah, I'll put that link up in a minute for those of you that are asking.
Yeah. So, curious, Chase, like, what's your, cause everybody does SEO a little differently, or they run the SEO side of their business differently. And I'm always looking around for different price points, different strategies. And I know you are too, that's how you stay sharp in this game, right? There are a lot of people that are, like you said, like, trial and error is the way that you kind of learn this, unless you get somebody's exact blueprint. And even then, you'll do that for a little while. There'll be a change from Google. You'll encounter some speed bumps and you'll have to change and adjust, so it is very important to, like, keep your eyes on other people and other things that are going on, because everybody's kind of testing, and you are somebody that I definitely look at that is like, dude, you try so many different things all the time. Like, it's freaking crazy. Like, every time I see like a new video coming from you, or it's like, like you said, our group has good engagement. I mean, the stuff that I've seen you do has insane engagement, right? I've seen you build some crazy chatbot strategies, traffic strategies, SEO strategies, of course. But yeah, so obviously, like I'm saying, is like you're one of those people that I look to get some of that information from. What's your average like price point for an SEO client right now?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that I try to do is sell them on something low ticket. So like some sort of microservice, like $297, getting them, I don't know, even selling them a simple website. We use Squarespace. So a lot of the time we try to get people on the same platform, because then we can templatize it and just like clone websites over and use the same themes. But really, I think the best service you can start out selling is some sort of tracking. So like analytics and being able to track where their leads are coming from. Because when you can track where they're getting their calls from, like we have one of our clients is a holistic doctor. He's ranking #1 in our town for a holistic doctor in Santa Barbara. And what I realized personally is that I kept losing clients because I would be so good at doing my job that they would fire me. And that sounds ridiculous, but I would tell them I'm going to rank #1 on Google. And then all of a sudden, like, they're like, we don't need you anymore. And it would, and because I used, right. And because I used those strategies and they're so potent, so powerful, it's like you get #1 rankings and all of a sudden they're just like, okay, well, thank you. And so I needed to figure out a way to be able to sell them ongoing services. And what I figured out is that instead of, trying to sell them a big package up front where they're going to get rankings and all these things, I just focused on mainly selling them as their first service, some sort of tracking that will show me how many leads they're getting. So then I can come back to them and say, hey, Nick, I see that you're getting 20 phone calls from your website. You're getting 10 phone calls from your Google My Business, and you're getting 5, messages from your contact form. I think I can double that for you. And then at that point, what I'm doing is I'm selling them the ability to grow their leads and for me to maintain them. And that's something they're going to always want. They're always going to want more leads. They're always going to want to keep their current leads. But their rankings, it's almost like once they see it hit #1, they don't want it. And so that's kind of how I like to do it is sell them some sort of microservice that includes some sort of tracking, and then sell them ongoing, basically lead maintenance in a way for about, usually around $2,000 a month.
Nice. That's smart. That's smart how you do that. Like, well,
that's really good. That's like Blue Ocean style, right?
Yeah, I hope you guys took notes on that one, because that's sneaky. That's sneaky smart, Chase. Sneaky smart.
Yeah, it really is. So there's a question. Well, not really. I mean, I have a selfish question around this question, but Patty noticed that you mentioned Squarespace and hadn't heard anybody recommending that. So, what's your take on like using a WordPress website to a Squarespace website and ranking that? Do you see, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that they all work out well. I mean, I think as long as we were joking about this on the presentation, but I was like, as long as you're not using Wix, right? But
we won't say which one isn't the best, but Wix one do you think it is?
I honestly even think Wix could probably rank, but yeah, I think it's more about what do you like using? Is it something that, for me, WordPress always felt like it took a long time to, I'd click a button and it would be like loading. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to wait for this. Where, for me, Squarespace, I just type stuff in. It's almost like, like Instapages or ClickFunnels or something. And you just type it in and boom, there it is. But also I like teaching it because a lot of people who are starting out, WordPress is kind of, I think, intimidating when you look at all the things in there. And when you can show somebody on Squarespace that you just type in a couple things and you have a live website in 2 seconds, I think that's a big selling point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't, like, whenever I get a new client, I usually, like, if I have to build them a website, I will build them one in WordPress, but that's only because of how like, I have a track record of ranking WordPress websites, right? Like we have also ranked many Squarespace sites. So like if a client comes to us and they have a Squarespace site, then we will, rank it. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear and see, like that kind of thing.
Well, and I will say that, we usually only go for easy keywords. So our tool is really good at finding keywords that are extremely easy to target. We don't really go for, medium to high competition keywords. So when we build a Squarespace website, we know we're going to rank it just because the keyword's so easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Like when somebody comes to us and they're, a new real estate agent, it's like, hey, we want to rank, we want to do SEO we want to Maui SEO. Like real estate in Hawaii is a mad competitive, niche, and their expectations need to be set. Like, the chances of us actually getting them on the first page of Google are slim. And if they are even there, it's going to take a pretty significant amount of time. So yeah, I don't even really like to take on those types of clients. I really don't. So I think that's a great point that you made there.
Yeah. And not to mention the people that are ranking on those terms for Maui real estate are spending a lot of money every month to stay there and be there. Like the people on that front page, like they have the budgets, Yeah.
Well, I've asked a few questions now. If you guys have any questions for Chase, why don't you throw them in the chat?
From Chandra. how do you track? Do you just use Google Analytics, Chase?
We use Google Analytics and then a tool called call tracking metrics that basically sends events over to Google Analytics, and it basically registers as a call within Google Analytics. So not only are you able to see the call volume, but you're also able to see the conversion rates per page, right? So if you go to your homepage, you can see, well, 3% of these people called us. And so if there's a low conversion rate, then I know usually by adding a button or just pointing more, attention to whatever the thing is that we want the visitors to do, we can usually double or triple the conversion rate, which that alone is going to pay for the project. So, I mean, I've had clients where, we've literally added a button to their website and it was like a $2,000 button because it doubled their leads. And we told them, look, this is what we want to do. We want to double your leads. It's $2,000. Is that okay with you? And they said, yes. And at that point, they don't care what I do. They don't care if I rank them number 1 on Google. They don't care, so that's why the tracking is so important, I think, because it gives you the ability to pretty much have the freedom to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. That's a really good point. You're making me rethink a couple things right now.
So Google Analytics, and what was the other tracking tool?
There's another tool called call tracking metrics. And by the way, in the presentation,
call tracking metrics.
And in the presentation, we talk about a little bit about, how you would be able to do this with, what was offered in there. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I put it in the chat, call tracking metrics.
So after they, just so everybody knows, there's a training and we're going to give you the link. You can watch it. Like Tom mentioned, there's a lot of really good information on the training that you can take with you, right? You just show up to that training, watch it, take that information, use it. There is an opportunity at the end to pick up Chase's software for a special pricing. It's not the normal pricing, but in addition to the software, you also get training too, right, Chase?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying is you'll actually get training to learn how to, all the processes. I basically took my life's work, which is just over 200 hours of different trainings, and I kind of segmented them out into different topics: local SEO, national SEO, setting up your agency, setting up your tracking, everything you're going to want to do. And we included that in there for you. So not only do you get the tool, but you also get access to pretty much everything I know and everything that we kind of covered today.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And if you guys want to check out the replay, you just go to offlinesharks.com/roadmaps-replay. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Someone from our team should put it in the comments as well. Yep, there we go. But yeah, I've seen lots of comments in here about how great the training was, Chase, and which is awesome. Which is funny because Chase was nervous. He was telling me before, he's like, I was nervous. But man, he knocked it out of the park. It was great.
No, man. I think you did a great job, and it helps that you're just speaking from the heart, right? Like you know this stuff, you do this stuff, and you live this stuff. So really, it just comes down to like telling people about it and being able to articulate it. And you can always tell. Like I venture to ask everybody here. You can tell when you get on a webinar and there's somebody that's like talking about some suspicious stuff. They're not like too familiar with what they're talking about. Maybe they're great at selling, but they're not too, they don't really know what they're talking about because they've never actually done the thing. Like you totally know that about Chase. Like when you hear him talk about SEO, when you see what he does and what he has done, that this is all stuff that he's very familiar with. So yeah, it helps. I'm not a presenter either, Chase, and I know that I always find solace in that. At least I get to talk about just the stuff that I know about,
Yeah. Oh, here we got a question from Jimmy. How does a tracking number affect the client's name, address, and phone number as it pertains to Google business profile and local SEO?
That's a good question. And I think you definitely have to consider that when you're trying to build, as we were saying earlier, citations, right? Because you want your phone number to be the same across all of your different listings. So I found that the strategies that we use work so well that we're actually able to put the call tracking number in Google, in the Google My Business, and it still ranks fine, number 1. There's a primary number and a secondary number in the Google business profile. And so we just keep the one that we want as the citation as a secondary, and we put the tracking number as the primary. And again, our doctor, when we first started, he was getting about 30 to 40 leads per month from his website between phone calls and contact forms. And now he's getting over 400. So it seems to work very well either way. I think changing one number, I don't know. It's still something that we're testing for sure.
We're doing the same thing. We're doing the primary, secondary number, using the call tracking for the primary, and haven't really seen much of a difference there. And it's a really good question and something to consider. Also, if you have a new client that's like a new business, a good time to like get them set up with a proper tracking number is really in the beginning, because you can, like, say for example, you get a phone number, or they want to do SEO in their new business. You can get a phone number on a call tracking platform like Dialhawk or Twilio or whatever, right? And then even if that's not their main business line, you can always forward it to their main business line, right? And they can always keep that number, and they can even move it around like to different tracking platforms and tools and all that stuff. So if you start out with SEO in mind with your clients, then just start out with a tracking number too, because you can always change where it goes. And that way they'll never run into that issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Patty said she loves your shirt. So it's not exactly Hawaiian, but she loves it.
So it's funny.
On YouTube, by the way, just so you guys know, you can watch the stream here or on YouTube. Let's see. I'm looking for questions, so go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, Chase was on Maui, went to, he stayed at the Grand for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, right, Tom? Or right, Chase? A couple of weeks?
Yep.
Just so happened, like Tom and I had just left. And
we weren't there. I told people he's like sending us pictures from the beaches we used to be on. And
but it's all, in addition to that, it is very cool to see, the fruits of your labor paying off and seeing you be able to get to do that. I also saw that you bought a new vehicle recently, which is a very, very nice car. Congratulations on that.
I got a C8 Stingray 2021 Corvette.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty badass ride.
Yeah, those things look great.
It's pretty fast. How fast have you gone in that thing?
I try not to go over 100, but it goes 0 to 60 in 2. It goes 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, so it's kind of hard, like, not to hit that.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yikes.
That's super crazy.
Okay, hold on. Let me look through some. Let's see. Yep, use the second number. April said she was at the training. It was crazy good. Hold on. Oh, what about go high level phone numbers? Do you just treat them the same way, Nick?
Yeah, they can just use they use Twilio, so you can switch them out.
Use it as the primary, and then the other is the second, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing.
Yep. Somebody said that. Look at all those people in there. Okay. Somebody said their favorite car in the world.
Mine too.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Well, man, this has been a great training. You guys have great questions, great engagement. Chase, awesome information to share. Definitely, if you're on this call and you didn't watch the training, go there. Again, it's not the shortest training we've done, but it's also really compact. Like all the meat and everything. I mean, Chase got through all that, I think, in under an hour. And then we spent the rest of the time just doing Q&A. So pretty easy to watch it and get it. Just go to offlinesharks.com/roadmaps-replay. Also earlier, we asked whoever guessed the guess, we'd give them some Cash App money. So I saw two people in there. There was some argument back and forth about who was first, because, it shows up different in all the different streams. So we're going to send some Cash App money to James Argyris and also to April. April J. So Shashan, make sure we can get them some Cash App money for those two winners. And then before we go, we also need to.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
We need to give away the Cash App money for the people from the beginning.
Right. So we have two people that commented on our shout outs, and those two people are going to get some Cash App money right away. So it will be Chandra Rao and Miss Darla. Congratulations. Thank you for shouting out or congratulating our shout outs.
She must have known she was going to win.
Yep.
You put in cha-ching. Awesome.
That's
You can
great.
use that Cash App money to go spend some money on your chain. I
Yeah.
heard that in a song. I spent some money on my chain. I'm like, I can't get it out of my head now.
Funny.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, Chase, thanks for hanging out with us again, and for everybody that is here, definitely go offlinesharks.com/roadmaps-replay. And now is the time to check it out. We're going to leave it up for a couple of days like we usually do. There's a special offer on Chase's software if you want to use it. And also just, think about search engine optimization as a very valuable service and skill set to have. Like I said at the beginning of this training or the beginning of this live, it's a valuable skill, and you don't need to have you don't need to be like a massive OG in SEO to make money with it. You just need to know enough to be dangerous and help some of these business owners out. And the opportunity that you have here with Chase, who is for sure an expert in SEO, developed an amazing tool to help you get your foot in the door with a lot of businesses out there at scale, is a great offer, and it's very, very affordable. And there's a lot of really good information on how he just does SEO in general, how he fulfills SEO. And so if you want to rank your own website, you want to rank your client's website, it's a great place to hit the ground. I highly, highly recommend and encourage you to go check it out. And thanks for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you here next Friday, same shark time, same shark channel. Stay safe out there, everybody. Practice aloha.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly marketing jam session. Always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote business from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube and Tom's podcast at tomgaddis.com. We'll be back here next Friday for another Sharks Live Show. Until then, aloha.